Hello, everybody. I am Peter the Book Lover, and this is Movie Talk, episode 17. And this is where I talk about movies three at a time, movies that I recently seen. And I've got some great horror movies that I want to talk about in this episode, so let's talk about them. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter the Book Lover, and I want to thank you for coming by. This is Movie Talk. This is where I talk about the movies that I recently seen. I also talk about books as well, but I'm a big fan of movies, so I decided to make videos to where I talk about the movies I've recently watched. So let's get into them. But before I get into the video, I want to thank everybody for coming by. Every member of the audience, I really appreciate you being here. So thank you for coming by. You mean a lot to me. Okay, let's just start this off. Now, the first one that I'm going to talk about is from 1984, and this is directed by Wes Craven, and this is a classic. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street. And what this movie is about there's a man named Freddy Krueger that has the power to stalk you in your dreams. And the thing about it is, this guy can harm you in the dream, and you'll be harmed in real life. And this guy has the capability of killing you in your dream. So this is a very interesting movie. This is a great concept, and this is a very entertaining movie. But before I give you my opinion of what I think of this movie, I want to go over the cast of this movie. Okay, Nancy is played by Heather Langenkamp. Then we have Glenn, and this is played by Johnny Depp. Now, this is a very big actor I'm sure you've heard of, right? Then we have Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund. Then we have Donald Thompson, which is played by John Saxon. This is the father of Nancy. We've got Tina Gray, played by Amanda Weiss. And then we have Marge Thompson, played by Ronee Blakley. And this is the mother of Nancy. And my opinion of this movie is this is a fantastic movie. Now, I didn't see this in the movie theater when it first came out. And I didn't get to see this until about 1985, maybe 1986. And I was really impressed with this movie when I first seen it. And I'm still impressed with this movie to this day. This has got some great special effects, some great cinematography, the dialogue is great, and it's a really awesome movie. The performances in the movie by the actors are great, especially Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund. Robert Englund is an amazing actor in this role. He's scary. He's got great makeup. He's got an iconic look, and he's a very interesting character. And this has become a big franchise. They've made a lot of movies, a lot of sequels in this franchise, and this is a really wonderful movie. It's some of the scenes are amazing. There's this one scene where Nancy is taking a bath, and while she's in the bathtub, she's kind of dozing off. And as she's dozing off, there's the clawed hand that starts coming up out of the water in between her legs. And then she gets woken up. And then you see the hand coming back. It's a really iconic scene. There's another scene to where she's running upstairs and the stairs kind of like melt. Yes, and this guy, one cool part about this guy is that he's got this glove with razor blades on it. And it's a pretty scary glove. And this is an amazing movie. I really think it's worth your time. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a great movie. I highly recommend it. Although, if you see this movie, I highly recommend that you see the original version of A Nightmare on Elm Street and you do not watch the remake, because there is a remake of this that's not nearly as good as the original. Okay, the second movie that I'm going to talk about here is from 1982, and this is directed by Steve Miner, and this is Friday the 13th, Part 3. And what this movie is about, this is the third part of the Friday the 13th series. This is a movie that was filmed in 3D, and this is pretty much a bunch of teenage kids go to a farmhouse that's secluded with a barn attached to it, and they get stalked by this killer. Very simple concept. And the killer is named Jason, and he is a very terrifying killer. This was filmed in 3D, and it's really interesting that this movie was in 3D. It really makes this movie interesting. Although I've seen this movie in 2D and in 3D, and I like it just the same in 2D. Okay, before I give you my opinion of this movie, I'm going to give you the cast of this movie. Now, Chris is played by Dana Kimball. Jason Voorhees is played by Richard Broker. Shelley is played by Larry Zerner. And this guy is the comedian, a guy that likes playing practical jokes on people. Debbie is another teenager in this movie, and she is played by Tracy Savage. And Rick is an older character in this story, and this is played by Paul Kratka. I think I'm saying that name correctly. And this is a great movie. I really enjoy this movie. This is pretty much my favorite Friday the 13th movie. There are other movies that I like almost as much as this, but this one I think is my favorite one. The best thing about this movie is pretty much a bunch of people spend a lot of time thinking they're going to get killed, and then they don't get killed. And then people think they're going to get killed, and they do get killed. And this has an iconic ending. I love the ending of this movie. The ending is one of my favorite parts. There's a really cool scene to where they deal with these bikers. There's a miniature biker gang of 3 people, and they're really cool characters. And this is a fun movie. Seeing it in 3D or seeing it in 2D, it's just as good. Also, they have another couple in the beginning of this movie that's fun to watch too. That's like not really connected to this movie, but they have some entertaining scenes in the beginning. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. There's another cool part about this movie where they have these 2 characters that smoke a lot of weed. So they're smoking a lot of weed. And another cool thing about the 3D, there's a lot of scenes to where they put things in the camera's face. I really wish that I had the chance to see this in the movie theater in 3D. I'm pretty sure it was pretty awesome. But yes, this is Friday the 13th, Part 3. It's a movie that I would recommend. I enjoy this quite a bit. And I've been watching this for a long time, so I think this is a great movie. Okay, the third movie that I'm going to talk about is from 2003. And this is directed by Ronnie Yu. And this is Freddy Vs. Jason. And I kind of picked this movie after watching the 2 other movies because I thought this would really go with the other 2 movies. And this is a combination of these 2 movies put together to make this one movie. This is the story of Freddy Krueger is at a point to where he's not scaring people anymore, and he wants to continue scaring and terrifying people. So he resurrects Jason Voorhees to stalk these kids, and it actually kind of works because once he starts stalking them, they start having their bad dreams again. And this has a couple battles by Freddy and Jason. They get into a couple fights, which are pretty cool fights, very enjoyable. Not a scary movie. This is not a very scary movie, but this is a pretty cool movie, and it's got a nice look to it. Okay, now before I give you my opinion of this movie, I want to go over the cast. Freddy Krueger is played by Robert Englund England. But his name is weird. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. England. Jason Voorhees is played by Ken Kurtzinger. We got Laurie Campbell, which is pretty much the main actress of this movie, and this is by Monica Keena. We got Kia Watterson, played by Kelly Rowland. We've got Charlie Linderman, played by Christopher Rodriguez Marquette. And then we got a character named Gibb, played by Catherine Isabel. And let me give you my opinion of this movie. This is a very interesting concept. I enjoyed it. A lot of fans have really wanted this to happen. Now, in my opinion, the other two movies are better than this movie, but at the same time, this is a fun movie to watch. It's got a couple pretty cool deaths in there. There's a really interesting scene to where there's a person that wants to smoke some weed, and nobody wants to smoke weed with him, so he smokes some weed by himself, and then he gets stalked by like a pot smoking Freddy Krueger that's in the form of a caterpillar, and it's a pretty cool scene, and yeah, it's a pretty good fight scenes. The actors in this movie do a pretty good job of doing what they're supposed to do in this movie. This isn't highly recommended, but at the same time, this is a fun movie. Do not expect a scary movie. As a matter of fact, if you know somebody that doesn't like horror movies, this is a great movie to show them because it's more fun than it is scary. Yeah, and I thought this was pretty good. I would recommend it. Not highly recommend it, but I would recommend this movie. So, that's about it. That's the three movies that I'm going to talk about in this episode. And I want to thank you for being here. You're really awesome for being here. If you can, let me know what you think of these movies. Let me know in the comments what you think, good or bad. I'd love to hear from you. And if you like the video, can you please hit the like button? Every time that I get a like, I think of it as a gem, and I really appreciate every single gem that I get from you guys and girls. Really awesome to get these likes. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I make new content all the time, so if you like my content, there's reasons to come around later because I plan on making videos for quite a while now. So that's it for this episode of Movie Talk. This is episode 17, and I want to thank you for being here. I am Peter the Book Lover, and I'll see you in the next video.